Hey there, Wastelanders. Thank you so much for joining me. Today, we're going to be talking about the duality of Cooper Howard and the Ghoul. And is there a line between the two, or have they always been the same personality? And before we start today's video, I want to thank you guys seriously so much. As of right now, we have 831 subscribers. And today I officially applied to be a part of the YouTube creator program. So thank you guys so much. It's been a dream come true. All of the followers, all the success, all the love you give on the live streams and in the Discord, I really appreciate it, and thank you all so much. If you'd like to, join the Discord, and let's get started. So Cooper Howard, the charming Western actor who is also one of the first faces for the Vault-Tec brand. We know him as a very loving father and husband, but as we see, over 240 years has twisted what once was Cooper Howard into the Ghoul. Or was the Ghoul always there, and was Cooper Howard all just an act? And you might be saying, Brother Mike, the Cooper Howard was who he was before the bombs dropped, and then he lost his family and couldn't find him, and he transformed into the Ghoul. But in Season 2, especially in Episode 5, we see where Cooper Howard ends and where the Ghoul begins. Or was the Ghoul always there, hidden underneath this persona of Cooper Howard the entire time? Well, let's talk about it. Cooper Howard before the bombs dropped was a very charismatic and likable guy. I mean, not only was his wife connected to Vault-Tec, but she got him a position to be like their first face of the brand. And that is huge. From Western actor to the frontman of the end of the world. Only was he a acclaimed actor who starred in Westerns and most likely other projects before that, but he was able to land himself a job as the poster boy for Vault-Tec before Vault Boy was instated. Now, obviously, this was with the help from his wife, who is in upper management at Vault-Tec, but still, that is a huge task, and he's responsible for the famous thumbs up. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about, was Cooper Howard all an act? And was the Ghoul always underneath him? Or was it time that made him turn into the Ghoul? Personally, I believe the personality of Cooper Howard died when he heard Barb, his wife, talk about her and her company ending the world themselves. We see his whole world shatter in this moment. And that final episode of the first season does a great job at showing us how just earth-shattering and flips not only what he believed his life was, but the life in the world around him completely upside down. And that's where we start to see a change within Cooper. In the flashbacks in Season 2, he's not just being a husband or a father, he's just acting like one. Now, yes, he still loves Janie very much, and we see in Season 2 that he wants to run with her, and he does get interrupted by some of the pre-war testing for the vaults, the bombs drop testing, but anytime he's around his wife, we see him put on this character, and I think that's where we begin to see Cooper Howard dissolve, or at least this personality he's made for Cooper Howard. Not only does he have to act around his wife that everything's fine and he didn't hear a single thing about, her proposing the end of the world, making apocalyptic claims in board meetings, but we also see that he's living a lie. The company he's working for, he's just selling the end of the world for them for really nothing in return. Yeah, he may end up in a special vault for management, but at the end of the day, is that the right thing? And we also see him step into this espionage spiral. Not only was he spying on his wife, but in Season 2, Moldaver, who we still have no clear connections for who she really works for, sends him to kill Mr. House. And Cooper Howard is not okay with this. Many times he states that he doesn't just want to kill blatantly for some cause, for the greater good, because he's done that before. And what greater good actually came out of that? You know, hence what happened in Alaska, what he saw in Alaska, the death claw, the death he saw, for what? Countries fighting over resources? At the end of the day, he just has to go back home to his family, act like everything's normal, not only around his wife, who he knows may potentially be responsible for billions of deaths, but also he has to act like everything's okay for Jamie, his daughter. Personally, I would break. And we see him hold himself together very, very well. But that's not until he meets Mr. House. So we've all seen it, and I've made a video about it in the past, but Cooper Howard and Mr. House's pre-war showdown in the Lucky 38 penthouse is a beautiful scene. And we learn not only more about Mr. House, but we see where Cooper actually sees things from. I mean, this is a man dropped into the middle of the end of the world unfolding right in front of him, and he thinks that he has a shot to end it, just to learn from Mr. House that he's not going to do anything with the bombs. He's trying to protect Vegas, and that there's bigger players at play. There's someone that not even Mr. House knows at the table. Maybe he's not the house after all. So much is shoved at Cooper in this moment. And the only emotion he shows is anger. He gets angry at Mr. House. He says, what if you're just an effing lunatic? And, well, he may be. He's also a genius. And I think Cooper realizes this. I think Cooper realizes that this man's not going to show me all of this just to go back on what he says, especially everything presented to him, especially what he says about his wife. I mean, imagine you think you're this hero, that you're about to stop the end of the world potentially, that you may have a hand to play in stopping the literal total nuclear annihilation of the world, and you learn that you're just a peon, that nothing you do actually matters or doesn't matter from what Mr. House says. And Cooper storms off while Mr. House is shouting at him, shouting insults. And he also says something. He says, I know who you really are. You're a killer, Cooper Howard. You're a stone-cold killer. And Cooper Howard rushes back into the elevator, and this is where we see the death of Cooper Howard. I not only think his reliance on alcohol and drugs starts at this moment in the elevator, but it's the end of the chapter of Cooper Howard and what he will be turning into, the Ghoul. And that's where this whole video is based around. Was in that moment the Ghoul finally showing himself, or was the Ghoul actually born? And I believe that the Ghoul personality was always within Cooper Howard. Hence how, he became such the powerful actor that he was. How noble he was in the battlefield. Now he believes that he can stop all this stuff from happening when he realizes it's going to be all for nothing. And in episode 6, we see the ramifications of this. He finally confronts Barb, where he learns that she may not even be the evilest one, and that it may seem that she's trapped in this position. So not only was all this anger he held toward his wife potentially for nothing, especially after she helps him steal Cold Fusion from Hank, there is so much at play here, and I absolutely love what they've done with the character of Cooper Howard and the Ghoul and the duality between them. But this video isn't about praising the writers, because the Ghoul is very well written. This video is to go over, was the Ghoul always there? And that's something I believe true. And we see it in some of the first times we see Cooper Howard. Was Cooper Howard and his personality all a Hollywood act? Something to mask the man he truly was? The killer, the determined man that will do anything to accomplish his goals, finding his family, and also finding a way to find his family, hence what we see in season 1 and 2. Was the Ghoul just laying there idle, waiting to be awoken? And did potentially House set this in motion? Yes. Did Mr. House see the man that Cooper could become and the actions he would take to stop the world from ending so his daughter could have a better life and his family? Or was he there the entire time and all he had to do was wake him up? And I have a feeling in today's episode, dropping later tonight, we will see a lot more of this. We also see when the ghoul is laid out, impaled on the spike with his ghoul hole, that it flashes between him and Cooper Howard. This constant battle over who is he really? Is he this ruthless, cannibalistic killer with no empathy towards anything except finding his family? Or is he a man that wants to save people, that wants to help people, and wants to do good? Or is he something else entirely? Well, what do you mean by that, Brother Mike? What I mean is the ghoul was always there and Cooper Howard was always there. And what if what they're painting for us is a much bigger image, that not only was this a kind, compassionate man, but he was a man that in a minute's notice could kill and do anything needed for the greater good, or what he thinks is the greater good. And over the 200 years he spends in the wasteland, he forgets what it means to actually be human, to be Cooper Howard. And Lucy and the events that he's in, and bringing up all this past memories and the trauma of the bombs, meeting old friends from before the war that are somehow perfectly alive still. Now, when he meets Moldaver, she is pretty much dead. But this man is dealing with a lot. 240 plus years of killing, of surviving in the wasteland, going from management vault to management vault. And are we going to see a new Cooper Howard the Ghoul evolve from this season? Is that what they're going in this direction for his character? Because he is done so well. I mean, he is just but a mere shadow of what he was before the bombs dropped. And he's around this innocence again, potentially reminding him of his daughter Jamie. He sees this innocence in Lucy. And in that scene in episode 5, where he gives Lucy up, we see him actually care for her. It's the first time we've seen the ghoul perplexed like this. You can see the emotion, the sadness, it's almost he's regretting what he's doing, but it's for this purpose that he's been following for over 200 years. Does the ghoul even know what he's after anymore? Is he staying alive based off of a fairy tale that his family may be alive, or at least he can finally rest once he finds them dead? We don't know, and I can't wait to see what they do with Cooper Howard. I mean, what they're doing with him battling this kind of espionage spy life with being an actor, and how now these two lives are converging, and he's now stealing tech from Vault Tech to give to somebody who most likely will just end up back in the Enclave's hands. This man is dealing with so much, and not only is he carrying it well, but I'm shocked he hasn't broken earlier. I mean, his whole world was flipped on him in that meeting. And since then, not only has he learned Mr. House isn't who he seems he is, he knows the bombs are going to drop eventually, and that somehow now he has a part to play in that, yet he doesn't know that part yet. But Mr. House is just setting him up to give himself more time, and then obviously destroy his career within Vault Tech, which will then lead into him and Barb having to get a divorce, which now seems like is all just an act. That potentially Barb doesn't hate him. That her having to divorce him was something the Enclave made her do. And it honestly lines up. We see in that first season that they paint over his ads with Vault Boy. There was a fast rebrand, and I think that this cold fusion led to it. This man who's on top of the world, one of the biggest Hollywood actors, has the biggest fall from grace, and the day the bombs drop is doing birthday parties for alimony. Oh my, I can't wait to see what they add with Cooper Howard and let me know what you think. Was he the ghoul the entire time, or is Cooper Howard still trapped in there trying to get out? Or is it a bit of both? If you enjoyed today's video, please like, comment, subscribe. I want to know your thoughts. If you disagree with me, let's talk about it in the comments. And once again, I thank you guys so much for 815 subscribers. It's insane. I really appreciate it. And I will be live later tonight. We are going to be doing a live watch party. We're not going to actually be showing the show because I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube, but we're just going to be all watching it at the same time and then talking about it afterwards, and probably playing some Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and some Fallout 76. So join me there later tonight, and we also have a Discord that's in my description. If you want to reach out to me, send me a personalized email. My email is now in the link. And with all that being said, you don't forget, you are cared for, you are loved, and you stay safe out there, Wastelanders.